How are you feeling?
I'm feeling wonderful. I've been working hard with the team that we have in our administration, getting ready for next steps.
I think that there's a lot of things that we've seen people bring up as the big issues facing Everett.
Mm-hmm.
I would start with something that's come in a lot in our newsroom is the drug epidemic. And I just wonder, do you think that's the biggest problem facing the city? If not, where do you see it and what's your plan to deal with it?
Sure. The opioid epidemic is one of the biggest challenges facing cities across the country, not just Everett. But it is certainly a challenge in Everett. It was something I heard about throughout the campaign. One of the bigger challenges that I'd like to focus on right off the bat is the gang and gun violence that we've seen recently in the last months increase, young people entering gangs and really causing great harm in the community, and would like to work with our chief of police and the team to address that challenge as well.
I know specifically there was a case not too long ago where a young man, and I know Snohomish County Sheriff handled it, but I believe it was the city of Everett played a role too. The young man who was shot and killed, and there was some concerns.
Yeah, and it's really tragic when you have kids with guns and they're making life-changing, life-ending mistakes. It's really tragic for the whole community. So this is something that is a top priority for me moving into this new administration, and see what steps we can take immediately to increase safety for the youth and residents of Everett.
So I'm hearing you say that the gang issue is number one priority.
That's right.
We do know, as you just touched on, though, the opioid crisis. Mayor predecessor had the lawsuit against Purdue Pharma, and just wondering what your opinion of that is. Is that something you want to continue to follow up on?
Absolutely. Purdue Pharmaceutical should be held accountable for what their actions that caused this epidemic in our city and other cities across the country. So I will work hard and continue to fight that fight on behalf of our citizens.
Homelessness. I wonder, obviously with your background, this is something that it's very close to you, that you've worked on. Mm-hmm. I remember one person who ran had brought up the issue of Tweakerville. At first, what do you think of using that name to describe it, and just the way that he was characterizing the problem?
I think that does no one any good, and it is not in the best interest of our city. This is not, that name does not reflect Everett. Everett is a beautiful, vibrant place with a ton of potential and really wonderful citizens and a growing small business economy. Wonderful naval base Everett, and thriving port. So there's a lot to be proud of in this city. We have a challenge of opioid epidemic and homelessness and drug addiction in our streets, and we're seeing this in cities large and small across the country. And Everett, I think, is working hard to stay on the cutting edge of what different steps we can take as a community, what partnerships we can build to build strong prevention and intervention programs to get people quickly off the streets and into services and recovery, and back into being a strong member of our community.
Is the issue of homelessness, is it getting any better from what you've seen, or are we same or worse?
We have a housing affordability challenge. And that will continue to be a challenge until we are keeping up the pace of growth. So we have to develop more affordable units of housing, and we have to have everything from emergency temporary shelter to condominiums and new homes that young couples and families can afford. So while we're tackling that, we will continue to have a crisis of homelessness, and it's not going to go away soon. Everett, though, has all the ingredients to tackle this problem as successfully as possible. We have strong nonprofit service providers. We have a great housing consortium, wonderful partnership with Snohomish County. So I think that we can work together with our partner jurisdictions and the county and create some solutions to this immediate challenge that we're facing right now.
I also want to ask you about the budget. I know I checked with checked with City of Everett Police Department. They said they're still wanting to hire 9 more officers, which we know that would take a lot of money for those salaries and all the other things that you have coming your way. And I think the last number I saw, and I need to verify this, but you're facing a budget deficit of $21.4 million. Does that sound right?
That sounds right for a future budget for a year or two down the road. So we are facing a structural deficit for our city, but we're pleased to be hiring the officers at the rate we've been hiring. We want a fully staffed Everett Police Department to best serve our community. And so while we're bringing that department up to full staff, we do have to look at our budget and find whatever efficiencies we can throughout the rest of general government fund and see what we can do to address that structural deficit. And we'll be having to make pretty tough decisions early on in this administration to address that.
Any executive orders? Anything you have planned?
I do. A few things that will be coming in the next couple of weeks. So there's one that we're working on, I think, that we'll be releasing in just a few days. So we can certainly give you a call.
Yeah, we cannot wait to hear. I know you probably don't want to divulge too much, but what about your pace? Do you have like a long list of things that you want to get going right away, or are you going to kind of do something a little more steady? What's your plan?
You know, we've had, the last few weeks have had a transition advisory team, a 57-member team working on recommendations for my administration. So those are both short and long-term recommendations, and I'm pretty excited about that because I think it's wonderful to have a 100-day plan or a 180-day plan, but you need to be thinking about, the next years. And so those recommendations are coming together, and the report will be returned to me in a couple weeks. And I'll be using that report to set our short and long-term priorities, although we do have a few things we're working on to kick off right away.
Great. First official day, what did you do?
First official day, are we talking about when I came in the day early or just yesterday? So yesterday was my first full day on the job, and it was great. I met with a lot of the department leaders. I had our first staff meeting with the department heads, and then I had our executive staff meeting and just touched base with the team, learned about their priorities, and very much look forward to working with them all.
Very good. You've answered a lot of my questions. Some things I did want you to just walk me through is what's going to happen tonight. What are we going to see?
We're going to see the swearing in of me as the first elected female mayor of Everett. I'm very honored and proud to be sworn in tonight. And then we are going to swear in the council members that won their seat. And after that, the council will deliberate who will, of the candidates that applied for my position, council position number 4, will fill that seat.
Very good.
Yeah.
I just, first female mayor, 124 years. That title, it just, obviously that's getting a lot of attention because we have so many female mayors across Western Washington now. But just taking that, in addition to that, what would you say, what kind of mayor do you want to be?
I want to be a strong, caring mayor. I am passionate about serving the people of Everett. We have a lot of work to do, but I am excited about the work ahead, and I'm just so proud of the city and our community. And I want to honor, we've had a woman that served as mayor for a couple months. It was a council member that completed a term. So I'm the first elected mayor that's a woman, but
important
not the
distinction.
first woman mayor.
Very good.
Yeah.